we are on the second episode. Just like we promised you guys, I have my good friend Jess D'Angio back. She is with MsFortune Ministries, and she does birth charts and knows everything you want to know about zodiacs. So guys, get your pen and paper ready yet again.
Notes.
Gotta take notes. Gotta take notes.
Yep.
We are going to keep it super simple, this podcast, or this episode, I should say, because we are talking about the 12 zodiac signs, which we all love, the basicness of ourselves.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the pros of the zodiac sign. I want to talk about the cons of the zodiac sign. In the last episode, if you guys didn't catch it, you need to listen to the importance of finding out your birth chart, and also all 12 houses and how important it is, how it cultivates into who you are as a human being. So now we're going to get a little bit more basic and talk about the basic traits of the zodiac. I see it all the time on social media. People are doing so many reels, and I'm such a sucker for it. Yeah. Like, I am like, whenever it says Aries, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it relates to me so much. Yeah. So it's just pretty much a generalized idea of everything. So, okay. Are you guys ready? Oh, let me just turn this over. Whoops, sorry. Okay. First one, Aries.
Yeah, you should remember this from the last.
Oh, wait. First, yes.
Okay.
We should talk about this 4 elements.
4 elements. Yes. Yep. So we have fire, earth, air, and water. And 4 divides 12 3 times. So we have 3 of each. So every sign will fall under one of those categories. So there's 3 fires, 3 earths, 3 airs, 3 waters.
It really does go back to math and science. Huh?
Always. Yeah. Yeah. Basic geometry is very helpful when you are an astrologer.
Oh my gosh. I was not good at geometry.
I also wasn't, but I find it's, once you look at it over and over again, it's.
And who knew? Because I thought in my mind when I took geometry, like, I'm never going to use this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I use a lot of things that come out of geometry with astrology. So.
All right.
Sign number 1.
Sign number 1 is Aries.
Aries, a sign close to your heart, right?
The ram.
So Aries is the ram. Yeah, they are. They're bold, right? They're forthright. They're very fire. It's a fire sign, right? It's the first sign. Mars ruled. They are warlike, right? They just want to kind of pillage and plunder and headbutt their way through life.
We're the warrior.
Yeah.
We're the god of war,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, Mars.
Right?
Well, Mars rules both Aries and Scorpio, but in Aries in particular, he is very, very warlike, right? He is very, very fiery, and he kind of doesn't take no for an answer. And Aries, true to form, is very much like that. They're extremely motivated.
I feel like we should be like videoing this whole part about Aries. Why? Because it's about me.
Because it's about you? Yeah.
It's about me.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Maybe we should just do like a little... Oh, but don't we do it this way?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, so we're starting over?
No. No, we can leave it in. We can. Okay.
What?
She wants you to repeat the part about Aries because she wants it on her phone. So she can post it from her phone.
Got it.
Sorry.
You're fine. No.
Well,
okay.
no. Okay, so these are like bloopers. What you guys don't see, we do a lot of editing and take things out, but we're going to just leave it in because this is me totally being my 3 signs.
She's being an Aries right now.
Aries.
Sign of self. It's all about me.
But then Virgo is, let me just have you guys do it this way.
Yeah, yeah. Can you just do it? Can you just do it the way that I said to do it?
Aries double Virgo. Okay, so Aries, the pros of Aries.
The pros of Aries is that you guys are very bold, right? You are pioneering. You're natural born leaders.
Go on.
It is. Tell me more. There is, there's very little foresight, but it's great because it helps to just get things going. If you need to get something off the ground, an Aries is your best friend because they will just run, right? They'll take the ball and they'll run with it. Oh my
gosh, no way.
Every single time. Very devil may care attitude when it
How
comes
many
to
times,
Aries.
Jess, have I contacted you and said, hey, I got an event. Let's do this.
Right now. And it's tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. No big deal. Where a little Virgo might have helped. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, it is. It is very it's very childlike energy. And one of the things I love the most about Aries is that they never hold a grudge. Like you guys just basically
Yeah,
are
just move on.
incapable of going backwards, right? It's always forward motion.
Yeah,
It's always
let's
just keep
go.
it going,
Let's
keep
just
it
go.
going, keep it going.
Just do it. Nike
Yep.
is my zodiac.
Yeah, just do it. Just keep going. Yep, keep moving
So,
forward.
okay, what are the cons of Aries?
Cons of Aries show up. They can be very angry, right? All of the fire signs
Oh,
have
yeah.
this in common, right? Because when you have fire in your chart, extensive fire in your chart, anger tends to be the default emotion. So Aries, they get really mad, and their anger is actually frightening. It doesn't come out all that often, and it doesn't last very long, but it's extremely scary to more sensitive types when it rears its ugly head. And the other thing too is that, like, while it's awesome to be motivated and to kind of constantly want to go, Aries has a very hard time stopping. And
Yes.
there are situations in life that call for stillness and foresight and planning, and Aries just can't really do any of those things. So sometimes you have to kind of tap your Aries friend on the shoulder and be like, listen, can you go run in circles in the other room for a few minutes while the rest of us make a plan? Because you kind of can't be part of this, right? Like they don't know how to do it.
And but do they make good partners?
Well, it depends on who you're asking, right? I mean, they make good partners for some of the slower moving signs, right? Some of the signs that have a harder time getting up and going, but it's a rough combination when it comes to other, it depends, right? It's
Right.
too hard
Everybody's
to say,
okay.
right?
So we'll just keep it very basic. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
I had
fine.
to go right into that.
It's
seventh
totally
house.
fine, because it's let's keep astrology basic, and I'm always like, yeah, let's try to do that.
I know, because it's so not.
It's not. It's
because
just
math
not.
and science is not basic.
Yeah, no, it's
So-
not. It's not. It's just too big, right? I could put it into as small of pieces as I possibly can, but then it's just the sheer amount of
Right.
information is just keep going. We're on house number 1 of 12. We'll just keep going.
So then the second sign is Pisces.
Taurus.
Oh, sure.
You're already failing. See, look at that whole test
Okay,
that
well,
we just
I'll let
went
you
through.
do it. I'll let
Okay,
You're
all right,
the
all right.
zodiac girl.
I am,
I'm the
I
one
am,
that thinks I
I
am, but I'm
No, you're
so
good.
basic.
You impressed me last time. Taurus is the second sign. So Taurus is an earth sign. Taurus is the sign of sensuality, right? So Taurus is a very sensual sign, which is not to be confused with sexual. That's across the way in Scorpio. Taurus, I very much mean, is about the 5 senses, right? It's a very earthbound corporal sign that is about kind of learning about the physical body and what it likes, and how to keep it comfortable and happy. So Tauruses are notoriously stubborn. They are very slow, very deliberate, very methodical, right? You cannot force a Taurus to do anything.
The bull.
They will resist. They will dig in their heels. They will stick with something long past its shelf life, because, again, going back to what we talked about the first time, it's their house is the house of survival. And so they view everything as a threat. They can be extremely possessive of things, right? Because they're extremely resourceful. So they collect things, they collect people, they collect all kinds of stuff. And once you get in with a Taurus, they value you very highly, and they very much consider you to be one of their possessions. So if somebody tries to
makes
mess
sense.
with you, you will see the bull charge, right? But they will not let go of anything unless they're absolutely forced to. That's, kind of the good and the bad of the sign,
So what's
right?
the con? Oh,
Well, it's both, right? Because
because they're so stubborn. Sometimes they
the
can limit
stubbornness,
themselves.
yeah, as far as, if you're going to try to nail down one bad trait of a Taurus, it's got to be the stubbornness. Now, it's a fixed sign, right? And there's 3 other fixed signs, and all of them have stubbornness as a hallmark, but Taurus takes it to the nth degree. It is the most stubborn sign. It can be very, very, somebody like you, an Aries, who wants to go all the time, is going to get super frustrated with people who have a lot of Taurus,
So
because
probably
they're just
not my best match.
Oh God, no! It would be a terrible match.
Okay. So
Your Virgo will do well with a Taurus. Virgo will do very well with a Taurus. But
I've never
Aries and
dated a
Taurus,
Taurus. Oh, yeah, I did, but
Yeah.
that didn't count. So
didn't go well, did it?
no, it didn't.
Yeah, right.
It didn't. I
That's
felt
exactly
like,
why,
yeah, I
right?
felt like I was like, why don't you just do it this way?
And
Your
they-
way doesn't make sense to me.
Right. Yeah. They
Yeah.
can't. Yeah. And they can't hear that. They don't like to hear that, because they really just are not. They're in an echo chamber of their own
Yes.
kind of this is how I get things done. They're not looking for advice.
Gemini.
Gemini, my favorite sign to hate. No, I mean, I love to hate Geminis. I have a tortured relationship with Geminis because my Aquarius loves them, but my Virgo absolutely hates them.
Well, it's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde
Well,
complex.
yeah, I mean, they can be, right? The thing is that's a very stereotypical presentation of a Gemini. Every Gemini has, the proverbial two faces. But it's only the really bad ones whose two faces are like totally opposite of each other. But Gemini at its core is really about information gathering and communication and socialization. And so they're fun, right? Gemini friends are kind of like, they're the ones that are down for anything, right?
Yeah.
They are that friend that like you can call to be like, I want to go to a coffee shop. Cool. And then the next day you call them and you're like, I want to go to church. And they're like, cool. Right. Like whatever the hell you want to do, your Gemini friend. And when they get there, they'll sell ice to Eskimos, to, like everyone around them. They'll just be like, because they can talk. They're a master of
communication.
Talk.
Yes.
And like, it's like very jack of all trades energy. Right?
You can
Where
put them
they
in a room of anybody.
any
and
situation
they can
and they're good. Right. And they're good.
transmutable.
Very much. Very much. And they are, they don't do so well with stillness. They're very similar to Aries in that way.
Oh, travel.
They want to
with
move.
Gemini.
They want to talk.
Yeah.
They want to learn. They kind of have that FOMO of like, there's always more information, more people, more experiences, more things to do, right? Geminis are very much always on the lookout for like, what's the next thing that we're doing?
What's the con?
The con is the two-faced, right? And it depends on how it presents itself, right? Because I have absolutely met manipulative Geminis who are positively two-faced, right? They literally have two different personalities. Most of them don't fall into that category, though. The more benign presentation of this is that Geminis, we have to remember that Gemini has the fastest moving brain in the zodiac.
Oh, wow.
Bar none, right? And so they often get from point A to point B in the way that they're thinking before any of us do. And so it looks like they're being dishonest, but they've gone through a whole process in their head as to why they've changed their mind. And the rest of us are like, we just can't keep up. Right. So oftentimes if you perceive that a Gemini is being dishonest with you and you just ask them to take you through their mental process, like, hey, you told me this yesterday and today you're saying this. And they, most of them can actually take you on that process and you'll be like, oh, okay. Like I wouldn't have actually ever gone down that road in my own head, but like it's logical and it makes perfect sense. And then you realize that they weren't actually trying to be manipulative, but so you have to be careful with it, but they're very fickle, and they can be superficial, right? That's the other one too.
Right.
They're not trying to deep dive on anything. They always want to keep things like kind of up here at this like surface level. They're going to have a hard time with a Scorpio, right? Who like wants to deep dive into psychological, emotional shit. And Scorpio's like, yeah, I don't do that.
Makes sense.
I stay up here, right? Bird's eye view of everything.
What about Cancer?
All right. Cancer, emos. There are emo friends, right? Our Cancers are the ones who just like, oh God. I say this as like, I have a Cancer moon. I have 3 out of 4 of my kids have very heavy Cancer placements. So I'm surrounded by Cancer energy all the time. I get it well. Cancer is just, it's very emotional, right? It's that, again, I talked about this in the last episode where it's the first time that water makes an appearance, and water is one of those elements that is just really hard to master. So Cancers are very much about the emotional body, but figuring it out, right? Like it's the crab, right? They're tossed by the waves kind of constantly all the time. They're very, very empathetic. And it's a superpower, right? That the type of empathy that Cancer brings to the table really is a superpower. If you can, the sooner you realize that the vast majority of the feelings you're feeling don't belong to you as a Cancer, the better off you'll be.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, because,
yes.
and as a Cancer moon person, this was a struggle for me. I was well into my 30s before I figured that out. I thought I had a serious mood disorder, right? And it turned out I had just had kids, and they're very, they're all over the place emotionally.
Yes.
And so their emotions would kind of infect me. And I would be like, I was fine. Like, why am I like this all of a sudden? And it's just because when you're in the room as a Cancer person, you have to guard your energy because you can't, you really don't have a lot of defense, right? And you have to have that discernment of being able to be like, okay, that's not mine. Right. This person's angry over here and I'm feeling it, right? I'm starting to absorb it, but like, I've got to cut that off because it will become mine if I'm not careful, right? Cancers really have to be careful of that kind of stuff.
So that would be their con, do you think?
The con with Cancer is really the moodiness, right? And it comes with that whole idea of like, I don't practice discernment. I don't protect my energy. I just kind of, I'm chameleon-like. I shape shift and I just take on the emotions of all the people around us. that doesn't benefit anybody. The
Right,
Cancer
right.
of all, like, is the one that kind of loses the most when that happens. But it's tough for everybody around them too, because you have to walk on eggshells around them, because you never know what you're going to get with them. They can be totally fine one minute and then like a basket case
emotional-
the next,
yes,
right? And it's
yes.
just like, okay, what?
Well, because it's like they're hard on the hard on the outside, soft on the
It's
inside.
that shell,
Yeah.
right? It's that shell, and that's the protection against the water, is that shell, right? But the problem is that on the inside they're super gooey too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Leo's
The king of the jungle, baby. Our favorite sign. My favorite. Well, I mean, I go back and forth, but for the most part, it's one of my favorites. Definitely in my top 3. So Leos are, well, they are Leos, right? Like, everybody knows a
walks
Leo.
by a mirror and has to look at themselves.
Always, right? They definitely have
Elaborately
that.
dressed.
Oh, most of the time. That'll depend on the rising sign. Some of them are more muted, but Leos, for the most part, one thing you can say about them is they're all creative, and that they all are very self-aware, right? Leo is the sign that is about fun and joy and playfulness and creativity. So most Leos, if they're not operating from their shadow self, are an absolute joy to be around, right? They're very fun. A lot of famous people have Leo in their chart, right? Because they love to be seen and they love
J-Lo.
to entertain.
I think J-Lo's a Leo. Yeah.
Madonna is I mean, there's so many of them. And even if they're not like a Leo sun, if you chart them, like they'll be a Leo moon or a Leo rising, or they'll have a 5th house stellium, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, it makes sense. They really love the attention, right? They love the limelight and they love to be out there. And so
What's the con?
the con of Leo is that they can be very egocentric. And they can be tyrannical, right? If their opinion of themselves is too high, they can absolutely torture the people around them, right?
Okay.
They buy the ego story that they feed themselves hook, line, and sinker. And so that boosts their confidence. But if they're if they're just narcissistic,
Right.
and then it's like impossible to get through to them, to be like, listen, you're not not the
that
cat's
makes
meow, right?
sense.
You know what I mean? Like, you actually have to like be more considerate of other people's feelings, and they're just like, why, right? Like, I'm the queen or I'm the king, right? Then they can be very dramatic also. They love to be dramatic in situations. And so
Yes.
if you're in a situation with a Leo where you really want to try to like solve a problem, and they're just like, throwing dishes and shit, because they're just like, no, we need to make this as loud and kind of like over the top as possible. And it's like, no, we really don't have to do that. Like, not everything is a chance to perform. Like, can we just
Makes
chill
sense.
out,
Makes
right?
sense.
Yeah.
Virgo.
Virgos are, I love Virgos. They're kind of like the unsung hero of the Zodiac. They make everything go round. They really, really do. I said we, because we're both Virgos. Virgo is a very meticulous sign. It's an earth sign. It is about kind of mastering the day to day, figuring out how to keep your body healthy, how to keep your schedule efficient, how to help people around you, how to be of service. They're kind of wallflowery, right? They tend to be very behind the scenes. And they're the analysts of the Zodiac, right? They're the ones that are kind of in the background running the numbers all the time, and trying to figure out like how things work and how we can make other things work.
Always
right?
want to teach.
They do want to teach. They usually have a very good message. They're very articulate. They tend to be very intelligent, and they're just really good at putting the pieces of a puzzle together, right?
Yes,
Virgos
I
are
always say
super.
that.
Yeah, they're just, they see things. They're critical, right? So they see things. They see the big picture, and more importantly, they see how to get something to that, right? They know how to deliver it. They're very good in hands-on situations where things need to be manipulated into a certain into a certain shape,
Yes,
right? Think
yes.
of clay, right? It's mutable earth, right? Which is clay. You start with a lump
Yep.
and you turn it into anything, right?
Yep.
That's what Virgos excel at, is doing stuff like that.
What's their con?
The con of Virgo is again, it's that critical eye and the judgmental nature. Now, Virgos are extremely critical. They tend to be more critical of self than anybody else.
Oh, that makes sense.
They really are. But the thing is that if you're super self-critical, it's going to spill out into your overall personality, right? You'll tend to be judgmental of others. You'll project your own self-criticism onto other people. And neuroticism, right? Neuroticism. Virgos are very high in that. Perfectionism, really just wanting everything to be perfect. And it's like a lot of these traits, they're simultaneously the best traits and the worst traits, right?
Right,
Because it
right.
really
We're just doing
depends on like
basics. We're
which
just doing
one,
basics.
which way do they go with it, right? Which way do
Exactly.
they
And
go
guys,
with
this
it?
is just like a quick note take, like Cliff Notes version. Jess can go so much more deeper in and really enlightening you guys on everything you need to know about the signs.
Yep.
So then we have Libra.
Libras. Okay, so Libra is, again, it's the sign about partnership. And so when you meet a Libra, they are all about never rocking the boat. Libras move through life trying to achieve balance in just about every situation. So they can be, they're extremely diplomatic. They're very, very pleasant. They're usually very well spoken. They kind of know how to, they know how to work a room. Very similar to Gemini. It's another air sign, right? So all three of the air signs share that in common, that they're very social and they're very communicative. And Libra is really about just kind of like working the room and making sure that everybody's happy, and they make everybody feel like they're in partnership with them.
So I'm going to go ahead and say the con of a Libra, and I'm just going to, I don't, but I would say they would probably lack boundaries.
They can. Yeah, because Libra, it's a very other-oriented sign. And so they're the most likely sign in the zodiac to kind of put themselves last. Virgo comes in a close second in that category, but Libras are actually built to be, around other. And so Libras will, I've seen it happen a lot, where Libras kind of erase themselves when it comes to relationships, because and this is again that shadowy presentation of Libra, where it's like they're friends with whoever they're sitting with. And so they lack their own basic personality, right? They're like the hole in the donut, essentially, right? Like they don't exist unless they're with certain people, which sucks for them because people are fallible, right? So if you're a Libra who's in a long-term relationship and the partner dies, say for example, right? That person is doubly devastated because they're grieving the loss of the person, but they also now have to go back to square one and figure out who the hell they are. Right. Because their entire personality has been crafted around who their husband or wife wanted them to be. Right.
Yeah.
So it's tough. They're also very indecisive, and they can be, Libras can be very dishonest also. What's up, Olive?
That's from the
How
peanut
you doing?
gallery
How you
over
doing?
there.
Is she a Libra?
Yes, she is. Oh my gosh, she is a Libra.
She just got pissed.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking you, Olive.
She's like, oh, hell no.
I got nothing but love for you, girl. I got nothing but love for you.
Okay.
Where's the lie?
Moving right along. Scorpio.
Scorpios. So Scorpios, those brooding, deep, dark mofos. Scorpio's a really hard sign to pigeonhole. They really are tough. Scorpio and Pisces, I would say, are the two signs in all of the zodiac that have a very hard time coming up with too many words that will actually apply across the board. One thing I can say about Scorpios is that there's a mystery to them. But even that is not enough, right? Because some of them are mysterious and overtly so. Others are mysterious in a shy way, right? And so you can just kind of perceive it as this sensitivity. But in reality, they're they're natural born investigators. Scorpios will not rest until they get to the bottom of a situation.
Ooh.
They're super intriguing. They're very sexual, right? That whole sign rules sex and all things associated with it. So they tend to be very hot, right? Whether they're physically attractive or not, they are they
it's that
smolder
mystery.
in that way.
What's
What's
underneath that?
What is it? Right.
What's the con?
I see you're wearing gray sweatpants over there, right? Yeah. No, so it's the con to Scorpio is it's a deep, dark sign. So the con to Scorpio is that there's no bottom to how depraved they can be.
Oh, wow.
If they're operating from that shadowy space, which, they kind of rule over a lot of the shadow. And so Scorpios walk a very fine line with this, and because a lot of them are kind of forced to deal with the shadow all the time because they rule that deep psychological transmutation that humans go through. But if they fall onto the wrong side of it, they can be very deep, very dark, very brooding, and they're prone to depression. They can get real sad, and they can kind of they
they
stuck
all
in
go
the
within.
sludge,
They go
and
within.
they can't get themselves out of it. Yeah, it can be tough for them.
How about Sagittarius? I find Sagittariuses are the nicest of the fire signs.
They're very nice. They're very blunt. And so Sag is a Jupiter ruled sign, and Jupiter is our planet of expansion and joy and luck and happiness, right? So Sag, that being kind of their archetype, they largely are very happy, pleasant, expansive, optimistic people. They love to learn. They love to experience things. They're all about, kind of like the biggest, next, greatest thing. And they're fun, right? And they're truth seekers. And so there's something very enlightening about having Sagittarians around you, because they're always going to teach you stuff that you didn't even know, that you didn't even know you needed to know, right?
Oh,
That's
wow.
like
Yes.
how Sages tend to be. I love, I love
Sages
me
are
some
always,
Sag.
I love Sages
Yeah,
too.
they're super fun. And they're very similar to Aries in the sense that like they don't hold grudges either.
Right.
There's nothing about Sagittarius or Aries, right? That fire that wants to sit in negativity. They just want to keep going.
So
right?
what's their con?
The con with the Sagittarius is that they can be very dogmatic, right? Because Sag and the ninth house rules belief systems. And so if you have a Sagittarius that has decided that something is the way it is, they will not let it go. Do you know what I mean? They're like, okay, but this is my belief system, and like you have to subscribe to this. And it's really weird when it shows up because they are simultaneously very open-minded. The other thing about Sag that can be rough is that they are super blunt, right? Again, they have their own brand of truth.
Yep.
And if you don't fall into their brand of truth, they're not scared to tell you that. And they can be perceived as very insensitive for that reason, because they'll say something like, no, your butt looks huge in that. Right. And they don't even think about it. And the sad fact is like,
though.
they're right. Right.
Yeah.
And so really the audience is big. You know,
Right.
if a Sag says something like that to a Cancer, the Cancer's going to run home crying.
Yep.
If a Sag says that to somebody like an Aquarius, Aquarius is going to turn around and be like, bitch, fuck you. All right, I'm going to go change. Right. Like that's, I mean, it's basically just how it depends on who they're talking to. So
What about that lasered focus Capricorn?
Capricorns. So they are.
Besides being
Capricorns are
super duper successful.
they tend to be very successful, right? They're super ambitious. They're the masters of the earth realm. They know how to manifest the reality that they want, and they will not rest until they get it, right? They tend to be very structured, very disciplined, very responsible from a young age. Anybody that has a lot of Capricorn influence will have come in. And it's funny because I never know, it's like a chicken and egg thing. I can never tell, like if I meet somebody who's a Capricorn, I'll oftentimes will have a conversation about their childhood, and I'll find out that they were parentified like by their parents. And it's like, well, did that happen to strengthen your Capricorn, or was that because your parents just kind of knew that they could put that stuff on you and they could go deal with, some of your more problematic siblings, right? Like,
Right.
you'll be fine, right? Like
Right.
this one will be okay. Either the end result is the same, right? They always grow up to be people who are like, they just get it, right? They know how to adult and they understand how to make things happen.
They're just
for
ready.
themselves. Yeah.
They're ready.
Yep.
What's the con?
The con with Capricorn is again, it's that ambition, right? If it's taken too far, Capricorn will step on their own grandmother to get what they want in life. If they want it badly enough, which most Capricorns do,
Yep.
they won't think twice, right? It's that laser focus and that tunnel vision
Right.
that comes with like, okay, I want that, and in order for me to get that, I need to betray this person, or I need
Right.
to do this shady thing. They won't think twice about doing it, right? So you have to be careful with Capricorns because, you can think like, oh, I'm in good with this person, and then all of a sudden they totally stab you in the back because you had something they wanted.
Okay, so moving right along to Aquarius.
Watch those guys. Aquarius, my favorite. So Aquarians are just fun, right? Aquarians, they are it's the air, it's the kind of most evolved version of air. They're quirky, they're unique. They are all about freedom and liberation. They are very independence. They're very future oriented, and they tend to be very intelligent, but their intelligence often goes kind of like other people don't get the way Aquarians think. I find this a lot where I'm just kind of like, I assume that other people understand the way that I'm thinking, and that they can kind of synthesize the amount of information that I can, and I'm disappointed very frequently.
Okay, but I think that's a Virgo trait too.
Well, it is. It
Yeah.
totally is,
Okay.
right? Yeah, and again, like it's that Mercury connection. Mercury rules Virgo, and Mercury's exalted in Aquarius. So those are two signs. They don't have a lot in common, but one of the things that they do is that love of information and that ability to really like put it all together in a
makes so
way
much
that makes sense,
Yep.
right? Yeah, so it's your Aquarius friends, you know, a lot of people say that they're kind of flaky, they're aloof, right? They're kind of like in space. I mean, again, a lot's going to depend on what else is going on in the chart, but as a baseline, Aquarians are friends with everybody. They are very humanitarian. Things like racism, sexism, they don't compute for Aquarians, right? We know that it exists, right? I understand that there is a such thing as racism, but I've never it's just like why right? Like it just doesn't make any like we're all humans, right? They really understand the idea of the collective consciousness and that we are all one, and so they tend to operate from a place where everybody's just equal and we're all just trying to figure it out.
Makes
right?
total sense.
Yeah.
So what's the con?
The con for Aquarius is that they are super insensitive and detached. They have a very, very, very hard time with emotion, right? We're in the stratosphere at this point, right? This is the most evolved version of air. And so they do not exist in the emotional body at all. And so, and they're problem solvers, right? So when some of their more watery, sensitive friends come to them with a problem, the Aquarius is like, oh my God, tears, right? Like, please don't cry near me, right? It makes me so uncomfortable when people start crying because I'm just like, and not because my Cancer moon is like, oh, right? But my Aquarius is like, I'll just fix the problem for you right now. Like, who do I have to call? What do I have to do?
Nope,
right?
I
Like,
get that.
Yeah, I can't, it's too hard otherwise. But that's tough, right? Because it can make their loved ones feel unappreciated because they just cannot really get down on that emotional level. Not because they don't care, but because their energy is so high up into the air realm that they have a hard time relating to when water shows up.
So then we have, last but not least, Pisces.
Our little sensitive fishies. So Pisces that's it, right? That's sensitivity. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So people who have anything in Pisces, sun or otherwise, are dealing with, they kind of have one foot in this realm and one foot out, right? They really straddle that fence between the actual reality and whatever exists beyond it. So and as I said with Scorpio, it's a similar thing, right? I've never met two Pisces people who are alike. They're all sleepy. They love to sleep, right? They're very tired.
Okay.
They do, but the common
that.
denominator, right, is that sensitivity because Pisces lacks boundaries, right? So anything that shows up in Pisces is going to have a problem with boundaries, and so that's an exhausting existence to not have any boundaries, right? To constantly be bleeding out energetically around, basically every situation. Means that they have to find a way to escape to kind of preserve themselves, right? So that can be, they nap often, or they exercise a lot, or they lose themselves in music. They're very, very creative, right? There's a lot of healthy ways to escape, but they don't always find those, right? So escapism tends to be like a hallmark of Pisces. They all do it. It's just a question of whether they're doing it in a healthy way or not.
So what's the con?
The con with Pisces is that they bleed out energetically. Like 100% of the time. So you never know what you're going to get with them, right? They're very chameleon-like for that reason, because it's just, they're so subject to everything that's going on around them that they have a really hard time keeping it together, right? So they're very, very sensitive. They can play victim a lot. Because they do often get victimized, right? They're not assertive the way that an Aries is assertive, right? They're very passive, and they're very sensitive, and they tend to be very shy. And so more predatory signs will take advantage of them because it's relatively easy to take advantage of a Pisces. So they do get victimized. And so if they don't kind of step into their own personal power at some point in their life, they will adopt that victim mentality, and it will basically color the rest of their existence. Yeah. So that's, it's tough because they can be super tortured, right? As souls, if they're not enlightened, if they kind of fall into, we call it the Pisces pit in my house. I have a daughter who's a Pisces, and every now and again she falls into the Pisces pit, and she's just completely inconsolable. And I'm just kind of like, listen, we can't live here. Like, we can't. My Virgo's like, get
I know. We're like, let's go. Move
Dip
forward.
at
Move
my
forward.
Aquarius too is just like, get me out of here, and I can't, like, no, we can't do this, but they have it's there's something so beautiful about the way Pisces processes emotion, because they're just so exposed. One of my favorite things about the 3 water signs is, like, it's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Cancer has the shell, Scorpio has a shell, Pisces has no defense against the water. Right, it doesn't have that shell, it just has to swim in the river, like, basically upstream all the time. And that's, you know, that's the plight of the Pisces, those poor little things.
I just want to protect one.
You do kind of want to protect them, because they need it. They appreciate people who have a protective instinct over them. They really can't. There's so many things that they can't do for themselves. But then, you know, if you get them to a point where they're working on their trauma and they're enlightened, there's nothing they can't do. Right. From a spiritual perspective, they are, like, so advanced. So it's just a question of getting them there, like surviving Earth School long enough to be able to get them into their spiritual gifts.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, with that being said, I hope you guys got the pros and cons of your zodiac sign. And for more information about your zodiac sign and birth chart, go check out Jess.
Yep.
Jess, how can people find you?
You can find me at MsFortune Ministries. I have a website, MsFortuneMinistries.com. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can reach me through all of those channels, MsFortune Ministries.
Oh my gosh. I want to keep on talking to you.
There's
so we're
so
going to have to
much.
do, because I'm like, well, who has the most friends as a zodiac sign? And
Yeah.
who has this and who has that? So we're going to follow up. We're going to come back around and do that. And
All right.
we're going to have an amazing time.
It'll be good.
But guys, I hope you got so much out of that and you learned a little bit more about yourself. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys again. Until next time.